全球金融市场都在关心明后天的重点，美国到底会不会升息？瑞信大中华区执行长聶瀚文分析说，在美国经济数据还没有明显回温的状况之下，联准会预估要到2017年才会再度的启动升息。今天的关键对话，来听听看他的说法。
关键时刻掌握关键对话。大家好，我是陈明君。外资涌入让台股近期在高档震荡，加上进入第三季消费电子旺季，尤其苹果刚刚推出了新款 iPhone， 都让接下来的台股充满投资机会。但是美国联准会很可能在这个月升息，这对于台股甚至亚股会有什么样的影响呢？今天很荣幸邀请到瑞信大中华地区执行长聶瀚文与我们分享他的专业看法。Hi, Neil, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Pleasure to be here.
Let's talk about the biggest news in mobile phone market recently. Samsung has decided to recall all the Note 7s they've sold. And at the same time, Apple is going to release their new iPhone. So can we expect this new iPhone will surpass previous models in terms of sales and stimulate Apple's revenue?
What I can tell you is that the smartphone market has been growing very healthily this year. We've had 20% growth year to date. 60% of that growth comes from emerging markets and China. And the China smartphone market has been growing faster than the global market. China grew at about 19% versus the global market at 5%. So this is all very good for Taiwan.
There are many electronic stocks such as Hon Hai, Lagan, and TSMC that are very closely tied to Apple in Taiwan stock market. So how do you see their performance in a couple of months following the release of iPhone?
Well, we'll have to see whether the iPhone product is going to remain as competitive as it has done and as popular in China, because China is now an increasingly important market for Apple. And providing that stays the case, that should be good for those companies you mentioned here in Taiwan.
The other hot issue is the release of Pokemon Go. Do you play?
I don't, but my children do.
Do you think this game will stimulate people's interest in AR and VR technology? And do you think these technologies still have potential to grow?
And I think that it will stimulate interest in AI and VR. So we're watching that very closely. And we'll have to see if there's an app which really starts to use this in a meaningful way. This could be very significant.
Also, a new iPhone and the Pokemon Go could give a boost to the stock market. But what we worry about is Fed might raise interest rate in this coming FOMC meeting. So in your opinion, how will this decision affect Taiwan stock market, even Asia stock market?
Well, if the Fed does raise rates, that will probably be negative for the market. Having said that, we don't think that's going to happen. Credit Suisse believes that we won't see a Fed rate hike until next year. I think the chances now implied in the market around 20% for a September rate hike and around 30% for December. So the chances are much lower because of the data which we had on Friday, the non-farm payrolls data. And then last night, the services sector data. Services is a very big part of the US economy. Over 80% of the employment is in services, and that declined quite dramatically. So we think the chance of a Fed hike has dropped, and therefore that's why you're seeing the stock market today in Taiwan improving, and I think you will see capital market flows come back into this region.
We've noticed that in recent months, emerging markets in Asia have attracted a lot of foreign capital, and Taiwan is one big beneficiary. So where is Taiwan market placed among other global emerging markets?
Well, I think I mentioned, and I'll say it again, that the Taiwan market is up over 15% this year, versus the Asia market is only up 5%. Taiwan has attracted around 40% of all capital flows into non-China, non-Japan Asia. So Taiwan has been the biggest beneficiary in terms of those capital flows. We've seen around $15 billion come into Taiwan so far this year, which is a very healthy capital flow. Investors like the dividend yields in Taiwan. You have around 3.6% dividend yield. That's very attractive. 17 times earnings, which is commensurate with the rest of the Asian market, but the dividend yield is much higher on average. Clearly, tech is going to drive the Taiwanese market, but there are many other good companies in the financial sector, for example.
Neil, how do you see the relations between Taiwan and China now, and will it impact Taiwan economy?
Sure, the relations will definitely do that, but I think at the end of the day, the economies are much more integrated than they ever have been, and that's not going to change. So Taiwan will certainly remain linked and correlated to China, but the global demand is probably more important for Taiwan than just China. But I think the economies are very integrated and very correlated.
Thank you for your sharing. 今天内容和我们分享了科技股的趋势和未来台股的方向，也解释了美国联准会一旦升息对台股和亚洲股市的影响，给各位观众朋友们一个参考喽。我们下次再见。